Hey everyone, and welcome to Sweetpea Sid's Inspirations. My name is Sydney, and today we are going to learn how to do the perfect game day beanie, which is fairly quick and easy to work up. So let's go over some stitches that you are going to need to know how to do in today's video. So for the brim, it consists of front post double crochet and regular double crochet, which makes up a 2x2 ribbing. So you'll have 2 front posts and then 2 double crochets. Again, that makes up the brim. And then for the body, you are going to need to know how to do single crochets. And then in today's tutorial, I'll actually show you how to do a single half double crochet 2 together, and then along with some chain stitches. And then also for the crown, you are going to need to know how to do half double crochets. I am going to be using US terms. If you need more assistance on learning some of those stitches, please refer to some different videos that will actually teach you how to do those stitches more in depth, because I will not be going through that in today's video. Now, real quick, some materials that you are going to need for today's beanie. I am going to be using a 5mm hook. You may need a stitch marker once we start working on the body, because we are going to be using a invisible chainless start when we start working on the body, or you can also use a chain start if you would like to. I just like using the invisible chainless start because it kind of hides the seam here. And then also for your yarn, you are going to need some 4-weight yarn, anything that you would like, as long as it is 4-weight. So this one is in the color burgundy. It is Red Heart. And then the black is Mainstay. They are both number 4. I have noticed with the Mainstay, it does stretch out a little bit, so do be mindful of that. So other basic materials that you are going to need is, of course, some scissors and also a tapestry or darning needle. And if you would like to bust out a measuring tape, feel free to do that, because we are about to go over some measurements. So the brim here measures to be about 10.5 inches. That is after some stretching. Again, that's also, the stretching is going to depend on the type of yarn that you use. Again, the Mainstay does stretch out a little bit, which I picked that up from Walmart. And then the height of the beanie, measuring from brim to the top of the head, is close to 8 inches. So this is going to be a universal size. If you would like it just a tad bit smaller, which I have a smaller head, you won't work as many rows for the body. But I think that is enough information that you guys might need to know. If I think of anything else, I'll try to cover it throughout this video. We're going to start off with a total of 64 chains plus 1. Once you have your 64 plus 1 chain, we're going to go ahead and connect the 2 ends, making a big loop here. Now, the main thing with this is you want to make sure that your chains are not twisted, and that if you were to stretch them out, they are going to be completely parallel. So once you have that situated, we're going to go ahead and slip stitch the 2 ends together. Now that extra chain stitch is going to act as a slip stitch, so we will not be working into this stitch right here. We will work into the next stitch. So now we are going to go ahead and start our brim with a chain of 3. And before we start working on the front post and double crochets, making our ribbing, we do have to make a setup row. So we're going to go ahead and place a double crochet in each of our stitches. So once you have made it to the end, you should have a total of 64 double crochets. Again, we are wanting to place a double crochet into each of our stitches. And again, the main thing to look out is to making sure that your chains or your stitches are not twisted. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this row up, and then I will meet you back around where we will start on our ribbing. Now that you have all 64 double crochets in each of your chain stitches, we are going to now work on the 2x2 ribbing. So this chain 3 here does not count as a stitch, but we're going to go ahead and slip stitch into that space. And I'm going to start off with the chainless start or invisible chain by just pulling up a loop here a little bit, and then I'm going to go ahead and place a stitch marker into that space. Now you can also do a chain 2 if you would like, but I like doing this way because it kind of hides the seam. So now we are going to start on our brim, and the repeat unit is going to be in the first 2 stitches. We are going to place a front post double crochet, and then in the next 2 stitches we are going to place a regular double crochet. And that's the repeat unit. So I'll work that with you a few more times. So into the next 2 posts, we are going to place a front post double crochet. And then the next 2, we are going to place a regular double crochet. I'll work that with you one more time. Again, in the next 2 stitches, we're going to place a front post double crochet. And then in the next 2, we are going to place a regular double crochet. Go ahead and continue repeating that until you have made it back around. Once you have made it back around, you should have left off with 2 regular double crochets into the last 2 stitches. And now for the next 2 rows, we're going to repeat what we just did. So I will do one more row with you, and then I'll leave the second row up to you. So we're going to go ahead and slip stitch into either that chain 2 that you made or that invisible chain, whichever you made. We're going to go ahead and slip stitch into that space. And then I'm going to create either a chain 2 or my invisible chain, whichever. I'm going to go ahead and place my stitch marker so I know exactly where to slip stitch into. And now into the first 2 front post stitches, we're going to place front post stitches into those 2. And then into our 2 regular double crochets, we're going to place 2 regular double crochets. And then we're going to place front post double crochet into the 2 front post double crochet, and then double crochet into the 2 regular double crochet. So again, we're just going to go ahead and continue repeating that until we have made it back around. So one more time, front post double crochet into the 2 front posts, and then double crochet into the 2 double crochets. Go ahead and continue repeating that for the remainder of this row and one more row, and I will meet you once I have gotten both of these rows completed. You should now have 3 rows of the 2x2 ribbing plus that setup row. Now we are going to work on the body, but first we have got to change our color. So I have made a slip stitch for my new color. I'm going to go ahead and insert my hook into where I need to slip stitch in. Either that's the chainless start or your chain of 2. I'm going to place my slip knot or my slip knot onto my hook, and then I'm going to pull a loop through that slip knot in my old color. So that is how I like to change my colors. I need to remove my stitch marker here, and now we are going to work on the body, which is going to be a 2-row repeat. And we're going to do this for a total of about 13 times, depending on how big you want your body. So from measuring from brim to the top of the body, which is roughly about here, it is about 5.5 to 6 inches. You can do a little bit more rows if you need to, or a little bit less rows. That is completely up to you. But we're going to do the 2-row repeat for a total of 13 times. So I'm going to go ahead and pull my loop up here to where it measures to be about a chain 1. Or you can go ahead and chain 1, whichever you prefer. And then now we're going to go ahead and place a single crochet into each of our stitches. So I'm going to go ahead and do this, and you should have a total of 64 single crochets. And this is going to be the first row repeat. So go ahead and place a single crochet into each of your stitches. And again, you should have a total of 64 single crochets. So that is the first row repeat. Again, you just want to make sure you do have a total of 64 single crochets. Now we're going to go ahead and slip stitch into our space, whether that is your chain 2 or your chainless start. And I'm going to go ahead and pull my loop up to a chain 1, or you can make a chain 1. And then now what we're going to do is a single crochet, half double crochet together. So I'm going to go into my first stitch here, and I'm going to draw up a loop as if I was to make a single crochet, but I'm not going to pull through those 2 loops. I'm going to yarn over. I'm going to go into the next stitch. I'm going to draw up a loop. So now you should have a total of 4 loops on your hook. And we're going to go ahead and pull through all 4 of them loops. So that is a single crochet, half double crochet together. And then we're going to chain 1. We're going to go into the next stitch. We're going to act as if we're going to make a single crochet, but making sure you do not pull through those 2 loops. Yarn over, go into the next stitch, draw up a loop. Now there is 4 loops on your hook, and we're going to pull through all 4. Chain 1. And we're going to go ahead and continue repeating that for the remaining of this row. So go into the next stitch. So it's going to be right after that last stitch we just worked in. So we are not skipping any stitches. We're going to go into the next stitch, act as if we're going to make a single crochet, but don't pull through those 2 loops. Yarn over, go into the next stitch, draw up a loop. There should be 4 loops on your hook, and pull through all 4. Chain 1. Do that with you a few more times. So after you get that chain 1, we're going to go into the next stitch, act as if we're going to make a single crochet, but don't pull through those 2 loops. Yarn over, go into the next stitch, draw up a loop, you should have 4 loops on your hook, and go ahead and pull through all 4. Chain 1, and I'll do that with you one more time. So go into the next stitch as if you're about to make a single crochet. Don't pull through those 2 loops. Yarn over, go into the next stitch, draw up a loop to now there's 4 loops on your hook, and pull through all 4, and then chain 1. So go ahead and continue repeating that until you have made it to the end, and I will meet you once I have made it back around. You should leave off with a chain 1. So now we're going to slip stitch back into that space where we made either the chain 1 or your chainless start. I'm going to go ahead and pull up that loop a little bit for a chain 1, or you can go ahead and make a chain 1. And now we're going to repeat row number 1, which is we are going to place a single crochet in each of our stitch. So the first one is going to be over top of that single crochet, half double crochet, 2 together. So we're going to go ahead and go into that space and place a single crochet. And then the next space is going to be right next to that 2 together. So you have the 2 together here, and then our next stitch is going to be this loop right here. We're going to go ahead and go into that space and place a single crochet. And then a single crochet over top of that 2 together. And then a single crochet into that chain 1 space, which is going to be sitting right next to that 2 together. It's that little hole right there. And we're going to go ahead and continue repeating this until we have made it back around. Again, you just want to make sure that you do have a total of 64 stitches. So I'll do it with you one more time. So over top of that 2 together, that stitch that's over top of it, we're going to place a single crochet, and then the stitch that is sitting right next to that next 2 together, which is this little loop right here, we're going to place a single crochet. Again, making sure you have 64 stitches once you have made it to the end. And then we're going to go ahead and for the next row, repeat row number 2. Don't forget about that last chain 1 space, which is where your last single crochet should be. And now we're going to start working the second row repeat over again. And we're going to start off by slip stitching into either that chain 1 or the chainless start that you have made. And I'm just going to create a loop here and place my stitch marker. And then now for the chain 1, we're going to go into that first stitch and we're going to act as if we're about to make a single crochet. Just don't pull through those 2 loops. We're going to yarn over, go through or go into the next stitch, draw up a loop where there is 4 loops on your hook, and pull through all 4. And then we're going to create a chain 1, go into the next stitch, act as if we're about to make a single crochet, don't pull through those 2 loops, yarn over, go into the next stitch, draw up a loop to now there's 4 loops on your hook, and pull through all 4. Don't forget about that chain 1. Go into the next stitch, act as if you're about to make a single crochet, yarn over, go into the next stitch, draw up a loop to now there is 4 loops left on your hook, and pull through all 4, and then chain 1. So we're going to go ahead and continue this until we have made it back around. Again, this is the second row repeat. And then once we have made it back around, we're going to do the first row repeat again, which is placing a single crochet in each of our stitches. You're going to go ahead and continue that 2 row repeat until you have gotten 13 rows, or until you've measured from the brim to your last row, and it'll be close to 6 inches. And I did leave off on the first row repeat, And once you have gotten all of that completed, we'll go ahead and start working on the crown and decreasing. Once you have all 13 rows, we're going to go ahead and start on our decreasing rows. So you'll slip stitch into your either chain 1 or your chainless start, and then you're going to either chain 2 or draw up a loop that's going to be the same height as a chain 2. So we're going to start off by, in the first 6 stitches, we're going to place a half double crochet. And once you have those 6 half double crochets, we're going to now do half double crochet 2 together. So we're going to go ahead and yarn over. We're going to go into the next stitch. We're going to draw up a loop. There's going to be 3 loops on your hook. We're going to yarn over, go into the next stitch, draw up a loop. So now you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 loops on your hook, and you're going to pull through all 5 loops. So that is going to be our repeat unit, and we're going to do this a total of 8 times. So again, in the next 6 stitches, we are going to go ahead and place a half double crochet. And then once you have those 6 half double crochets, we're going to do half double crochet 2 together. So yarn over, insert your hook into the next stitch, draw up a loop, to now there's 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, go into the next stitch, draw up a loop, to now there's 5 loops on your hook, and pull through all 5. Again, we're going to repeat that. So the next 6 stitches, place a half double crochet. And once you have those 6 half double crochets, we're going to do a half double 2 together. So yarn over, insert your hook into the next stitch, draw up a loop, 3 loops, yarn over, insert your hook into the next stitch, draw up a loop, 5 stitches on your hook, and pull through all 5. You're going to go ahead and continue that repeat unit until you have made it all the way to the end, and then we'll do another decreasing row together. You should have now in total 56 stitches. Now we're going to do another decreasing row, so go ahead and slip stitch into the top of your either chain 2 or your chainless. And in the next 5 stitches, we are going to place a half double crochet. And once you have those 5 half double crochets, we're going to do half double crochet 2 together, and we're going to go ahead and repeat that again for a total of 8 times. So once you have that half double crochet 2 together, in the next 5 stitches, we're going to go ahead and place a half double crochet. And once you have those 5 half double crochets, make a half double crochet 2 together, which is also going to be a decreasing stitch. And one more time, in the next 5 stitches, place a half double crochet. And then make a decrease stitch with a half double crochet 2 together, and you're going to go ahead and continue repeating that until you have made it back around. Again, you should decrease at least 8 times. You should now have a total of 48 stitches. Go ahead and slip stitch into your chain stitch, and then now we're going to do another row of decreasing by go ahead and the next 4 stitches place a half double crochet, and then make a decrease stitch. And that's going to be the repeat unit for this row. In the next 4 stitches, place a half double crochet, and then make a decrease stitch. One more time, place a double crochet in the next 4 stitches, and then a decrease stitch. Go ahead and continue repeating this row, and once you have made it to the end, you should have a total of 40 stitches. Again, you should have a total of 40 stitches. If you would like to work ahead, we're going to continue decreasing until we have a total of 24 stitches left. So we're going to do another decreasing row. So we're going to, in the next 3 stitches, place a half double crochet, and then we are going to place a decreasing stitch. That's going to be our repeat unit. So in the next 3 stitches, place a half double crochet, and then once you have those 3 half double crochets, you're going to do a decrease stitch. One more time, in the next 3 stitches, place a half double crochet, and then a decrease stitch. And you're going to do that for a total of 8 times, and that should give you a total of 32 stitches. So now we are on our last decreasing row. So we're going to start off by, in the next 2 stitches, place a half double crochet, and then once you have those 2 stitches, we are going to make a decrease stitch, and that's going to be our repeat unit for this row. So in the next 2 stitches, place a half double crochet, and then a decrease stitch. And one more time, in the next 2 stitches, place a half double crochet, and then a decrease stitch. Go ahead and continue repeating that, and then once you have made it to the end of this row, you will have a total of 24 stitches. And then once you are done with that row, you'll just slip stitch it back into your chain and go ahead and cut a decently long tail, and then you're just going to feed that through and thread it on to your tapestry or darning needle. And then what we're going to do is we are going to thread in the back loop only and weaving in and out of that back loop. So what we're doing here is once we have got it to the end, we're going to be cinching our beanie to give it our crown. So we're going to go ahead and continue weaving in and out of that back loop until you have made it all the way. once you have made it all the way around, you can go ahead and tighten up the top of your beanie. And then I like to go back around a little bit and go through them loops. And this is just giving it some extra security here. And then I like to go from one side to the other. Go from this side to this side. And one more time from front to back. And then you can weave in the rest of your tail however you would like. I usually go a few stitches down and then go a few stitches back up. And then cut my tail. And then once you are done, either you can add a pom-pom, and if you have any other ends to weave in, you can do that. And I will do that off camera because I do have a few stragglers here. But that is how we make the game day beanie. If you did enjoy this tutorial, please don't forget to give this video a like, share, comment, or subscribe. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can feel free to email me, which will be down in the description box. But I hope you all have a wonderful day. Thank you for tuning in and making this beanie with me, and I will see you in the next video.